Daria Tensi with CNTV, and we're here in Broomfield, Colorado. We're here at Broadlands Media. I'm here with the owner, the founder, Blair Ashby. Blair, basically, man of many titles, engineer, composer, you name it, all the above. Let's start from the beginning. You started this up in 1992, obviously for a love of music. Why music? What got you involved in music?
I don't actually know if I had a choice. I have loved music from the day I was born. And my mom says the second day home from the hospital, she put on a record and it could never go off after that.
And so then what got you into the actual capturing of the music that you love so much?
I was 12 years old and I tripped and fell into the sound booth at the church I was attending at the time.
And the rest is history?
The rest is history.
The typical studio, the client walks in, they get their production basically captured for them. They have an idea of what they want, and they get sent out the door maybe with a master that they can go do whatever they'd like to do with it. That's the average typical deal of what happens out there. You're not the average, you're not the typical. Tell me what you have in mind.
I tend not to work with bands who aren't interested in international or national quality. And so I tend to work with bands really hard to get them up to the quality level they need to be at to achieve it on a national stage. And so it's a lot harder here. I don't do demos. I don't do, 3-hour recording sessions. Not the way I work. I want bands to be the very best, or artists to be the very best that they can be.
So let's start out with just basically where all this equipment is housed at. You've built a very nice place here with vaulted ceilings. Tell me about this and what you had in mind and envisioned.
This was actually a horse barn. And the first thing we did was clean out the horse barn and the screech owls. And then we took and gutted the whole place, jacked up the ceiling to vault it, leveled the floors, and then slowly built a recording studio over the course of 4 months.
How important is the housing to the actual final product?
Actually, it's really important. This wall off to our left is a brick wall, and this was actually 2 separate buildings, and they were connected only through this brick wall, and it's really nice to have masonry between your studio and your control room. And so when I walked in and I saw this horse barn with the brick wall in the middle of it, I said, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
So that sound's not bleeding through to your control room, and what you're coming through the monitors is actually what you're going to get.
That's exactly what we want.
So we've got a great place with all this equipment housed in it. Tell me some of the state-of-the-art technology. I'm sure everything wasn't crazy digital like this back when you started 18 years ago.
No. The first studio was a reel-to-reel and a little analog soundboard. Which still has brilliant things to go for. So, but digital seemed like the way it was going, especially when you want to be able to have lots of editing power and lots of flexibility in the world of MIDI and that stuff.
What are you offering for the bands out there that they might not find somewhere else at a place that is less par, who's just doing demo reels?
Actually, experience. That's the biggest thing. Any studio can offer the finest equipment nowadays. China really leveled the playing field with manufacturing. I've done this for 20 years. I've been Grammy cataloged. I've won the GMA for Best Producer. I've got the experience.
Give us a clear example out there of what many hats you're going to wear for people as they come through the door, as far as, arranger and composer and engineer and producer.
Probably my favorite title to wear is the one that I've been pushing into the past couple years, and that is where I'm a arranger-composer for artists or individuals who aren't necessarily musically empowered. They may not have a lot of musical training, but they get a little melody running in their head, or they get some lyrics that they write down and they want to make it into a song. I help them do that. Or an individual musician comes in here and they're a singer-songwriter, but they want a full orchestra behind them. I can build them the full orchestration.
A lot of people that have this tune or this vision in their head, they don't even realize that they don't even have to basically play an instrument when it comes to working with you with the latest technology of MIDI. Tell us about MIDI.
MIDI is just a language that talks between a piano keyboard and the computer and tells the computer that I'm playing this note and I'm playing it this loud. And then the computer goes in and either generates the note from an instrument that you want, like a synthesizer, or what I use is what's called sample libraries, which is it uses real samples of real instruments played by real people, and we just trigger it to play what we want it to play. And that's how all your music on television and about 80% of your music in films is now done nowadays.
you let the individual come in, they have a certain idea of what they want it to be, and then you kind of gently guide them in such a way that makes sure that everything's focused and comes across much better than possibly they walked in.
Yeah, that's the producer side of it. The producer side is guiding them to get to their goal, their dream, but also helping them raise their standards, because most musicians and most artists aren't necessarily reaching high enough. And so I start to expose them to how good they really can be if they want to put in a bit more effort into it, and then guide them along that path. I tend not to tell people what to do. I tend to give them many paths and they can choose.
And so once you have the all the way from the microphone to the cables, all the way through to the top technology, and you're recording it and putting it all together, then it basically boils down to the art of music. And I imagine that's when you can finally have some fun.
Yeah, that's the best part of it. That's when you do it right, and the hair on your arms raises, and you've really done something special here.
You have said that definition of music to you is emotional photographs. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, an emotional snapshot. When somebody comes in and they either commission a song of me, or they have an idea that they want to achieve, or they have an emotion they want to express, the first thing I try to do is try to start to nail them down to what exactly are they trying to say emotionally. There's 2 or 3 or 4 minutes that are very static. It's not going to change. What emotion do you want your listener to feel the most in that point? From that point, then we try to build up a bit of an emotional image. And then every note, every rhythm, every instrument, everything has to point at that image.
Once they've got it produced, it's done, you've got that mastered, you even take them to the next step. If a person actually wants to package that up, put it out there, duplication, tell me about that part of it.
Yeah, if you're doing small runs, which is all I recommend for artists nowadays when they're getting started, is if you do 50 or 100 CDs to get started, I can help them duplicate that and do full press-ready printing, and so that they walk out of here, they've got a shrink-wrapped product that's ready to sell. And then we've also just added web services and web stores so that now we can help them build a website, put up their web store, sell the stuff as MP3 downloads, and achieve that end of it also.
For people that haven't worked with you before, what would you tell them?
Be prepared to work hard. It's not walk in here and record in 15 minutes and get a song. We've had days where we spent 8 hours on one vocal track trying to get it just right. You always hear it in music class, practice, practice, practice. And so I tell my clients, work at home. You can do a lot of this work at home.
And you even sometimes give training on the actual recording process.
Yeah, I've done that, especially for some of the other studios around town. I show them tricks of the trade and things that you can do to help your performance be better as an audio engineer.
Well, there you have it, folks, right there. Basically, it is Broadlands Media right here in Broomfield, Colorado. The information's at the bottom of the screen right there. You can contact Blair and basically have at your disposal quite a few different expertises under one hat. You're going to find that he, amongst his many titles that he has, you're going to find out, like we have, one of those is just a real nice guy. Somebody who's going to push you and basically coach you into being better than what you possibly thought you could be in the first place. But he forewarned you to make sure you get yourself ready before you walk in the door and come on out and express the music of art, recorded, captured, and you can get it done here in Broomfield. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.